You're listening to Ka-Pow, the pop culture podcast. Comics, television, movies, and more. If it impacts fan culture, we have something to say about it. And now, your hosts, Jordan, Cliff, and Seth.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Ka-Pow, the pop culture podcast. What a glorious day to have you with us. My name is Jordan Lowe.
Cliff Barnes.
I'm Seth. Anybody pick up the newspaper lately?
Segue.
Any newspaper in particular?
I had to go on a quest to find a newspaper. They're not easy to find. It was my 20th anniversary at Asylum not too long ago, and better late than never. The paper contacted me and asked if they wanted to do a little interview. They had a little section called My Marietta, and it was spotlighting some of the shops around town that, make Marietta what it is. I said, sure thing. So it was in the paper Thursday. I'm like, I'll run to Kroger, get some groceries. I'll grab a newspaper on the way. Well, their rack was completely empty. Like, there was a run on that day's newspaper. So I had to make a trip across the street to a gas station. I was like, do you guys have newspapers? He's like, yeah, over there. And then the guys at the counter were like, I can't believe they still make those. They were just like, who buys newspapers? Like, I do.
Somebody else was like, that's a guy from the newspaper.
Yeah, I was like, I want to be like, the guy who's in it is who buys it.
Strictly. That's why they put people in it.
Yeah.
So somebody will buy it.
$1 at a time. That's what everybody we know in the newspaper. But it was a very nice article. The reporter just kind of let me ramble about the history and how it came about. So she took some nice, colorful photos, made the shop look nice, had well-stocked shelves and everything. So there's just the print copy just had one tiny little black and white photo, but online there were some really nice, big, colorful photos. So I was very happy with it. Shared it on my Facebook page. And a gentleman who I believe is his aunt owned and ran Books and Things, which is like the iconic comic shop in the region for my childhood, at least. He had said, hey, I think you're probably the longest running comic shop to ever be in the Mid-Ohio Valley. And it blew my mind. I literally had never thought of that. Because I'm like, no, wait, Books and Things was there forever. Alonzo was there forever. All these little shops, I mean, there's some that came and went, that opened up in random spots and left within a couple of years. But there were a few that were really, really there forever. I was like, no, I don't think because he said the Books and Things opened in the early 80s and closed either late 90s or very early 2000s. So they were probably less than 20. So Asylum Comics, 20 plus years, has probably outlasted anybody else in the whole region. And I didn't realize that has literally never crossed my mind.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
People will look back and say, remember that guy at a store?
I rented the Lord of the Rings trilogy down there.
Yeah.
You've been around that long, boy. You're a long time coming.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I remember going in there first few times with Cooper, and he was not very old, just starting school, I think. And now he is, he'll be 25 in 2 weeks, and has his own home and life, and is all grown up, and yeah, you've store's been around.
Remember
almost
Nick coming in, not being interested at all.
Yeah.
Nick
coming in and sitting down while I looked at comics.
Went straight to the chair and just didn't pay any attention.
Yeah. So
he did not care. That's how it works.
Yeah. So I took a day recently out of these long 20 years, and I went to a con, Cincinnati Comic Expo. Don't go every year, but I've gone several times. So this is the last year they're having it at the Sharonville Convention Center, because the Duke, or I think they're renaming it probably, even the downtown convention center's being remodeled for years now. So it's a little bit smaller venue, but closer to us. It's a little farther north, easier to get to. So I'm going to give you the lowdown. Again, I like to give you plenty of details, just so this is kind of a audio diary for myself to remember all this stuff. But I hope you're interested in what happened as well. So left a little bit after 6 a.m. No problem, easy drive. Got there about 9:30. It opened at 10. They allowed you to go in and get your wristband and like check in, but then you had to go back outside and stand in line. And it was pretty chilly that morning. I didn't want to wear a coat inside, so I stood there about 20 minutes shivering out in the cold. But when 10 a.m. hit, straight in, easy, no line, no wait. And I knew where I was going this year. If you remember last year, we didn't know there were multiple rooms.
Yeah.
So they had kind of switched things around, but the celebrities were in the same place. So right at 10 a.m., I went straight to the celebrity room because I wanted to meet John Rhys Davies. I thought I'd heard he had long lines because he does definitely take time with everybody. So it's a slow process to get through his line. So I'm like, I want to hit him first off, which probably wasn't necessary because nobody was there. There was literally no one in the celebrity room. I was third in line, and we just stood and looked. And no other celebrity was in the building because, again, Sundays a little slower starting. People were out late Saturday night. Okay, that's fine. I get a little bit of like, you're being paid to be here. Like I run through all that stuff. I try. We're all human, whatever. But it's also like, you got schedules to keep, people.
Yeah.
Let's get cracking.
I drove 3 hours and I was
to be first in line. Yeah. So had a little bit of a wait. The first celebrity that came in the room was John Glover. The guy played Lionel Luther on Smallville and Gremlins 2. If you're a fan of Gremlins 2, you've all seen that movie. So he came in with a cup of coffee and was just kind of walking around. He didn't go straight to his table, and he kind of sauntered up to us. He's like, "Where's John? John!" He just started yelling for him. It's like, dude, you're the only one here. And he's like, "Where's John? What's he doing? Sobering up?" He's like, No, I'm sure he's in church. That's where John is. And he just started singing hymns. It's like, "Nearer, my God, to thee," and he sang the whole song. He's like, "I can't believe I remember all that. I haven't sung that since I was a boy." Like, so he was just entertaining everyone before the celebrity showed up. So God bless John Glover. So John Rhys Davies was the second guy to come in. He got there about 10:30, and he was so a half hour late, and he was still one of the first people there. But he was. I said, we go to these shows and see these celebrities, and they all just look. They're all shorter than you imagine. They're all older than you remember. Like, they're all very human.
Yeah.
But John was like, he felt bigger than life. He came in very theatrically. He was wearing a shirt and tie. He had a NASA tie on. I think he does some things with NASA, so he was wearing a NASA tie. And he was boisterous, and he was greeting everyone, "Hello, good morning," and he was just lit up the room, I would say. So everybody went through line. He asked their name and what their job was or what they did for a living, and chatted with them for a minute. So it was really nice. And like the guy ahead of me, he was just like, "You call that a beard, sir? I've seen better bristles on a toilet brush." So he was roasting people. Yeah, just having a good time. So he asked my name, what I did, and I was like, "Oh, I own a comic book store." And he's like, "Oh, how are things in that arena?" And I was like, "Well, they're improving since COVID."
What a way!
Oh yes. COVID turned the world topsy turvy. Everything he said was like a line from a movie. It was amazing. So I said, I know you've been in some of the best movies of all time, but I still think Sliders is my favorite performance. I had him sign a Sliders comic book. He's like, "Oh yes." It's like, "There is currently a petition making the rounds, and myself, Jerry, Sabrina, and Clavant would appreciate your signature." Like, he named the whole cast. They're all on board. They all want Sliders to come back. So I'm gladly signed that petition. Had to keep my promise. So then again, everyone who got up to take a photo, he's like, "May I place my arm around you?" Like he got consent. He made sure it was okay. So he puts his arm around me and he started tickling me. He was just like poking me in the ribs. I was like, "Yeah, I fucking did." He was like, I to make sure I had a natural smile or whatever. So I got tickled by John Rhys Davies, and he told the girl doing the photos, he's like, "Take lots of pictures. Take 100 photos. It doesn't matter what I look like. This is for them. This is for their memories." So he implored the girl to make sure they got a good shot of everybody. So again, it probably happened fast, but it felt like I got my money's worth. It felt like I had a moment with them. So I said probably one of the top of these celebrity. I mean, I don't do a ton of it at every show, but you know, this is right up there toward the top. So right after that, I went to the only other celebrity I wanted to see was Helen Slater, the original Supergirl.
Billie
Jean. She was the voice of Talia on probably 4 episodes of Batman the Animated Series. So I had my
poster time.
Poster. So I slid that over, and she's like, "Do you want me to write Talia under my name?" I was like, "That would be amazing." And I said, I just rewatched Billie Jean, and she kind of got like she rolled her eyes or was like acted kind of embarrassed.
Yeah. And
I was like, it was really great. I was like, I forgot how ahead of its time it was, and all the issues that it dealt with. She's like, "Oh, thank you." She seemed kind of shy, but I don't know, it was cool. I sprung for a photo with her because like, it's Supergirl, why not? So let's get a photo. So got a photo with her as well. So right next to John Rhys Davies was Karen Allen's table. She again, very tiny. Like I imagine her as like an action hero almost. And there's that in Raiders of the Lost Ark, but just a very small little lady. But almost every other celebrity there was Superman related because this was the summer of Superman. So the whole building was full of Superman people. I had missed Tyler Hoechlin and Bitsy Tulloch, who played Lois and Clark on the CW show. They were only there Saturday, so I didn't get to see them. But I did see Brandon Routh, Tom Welling, Michael Rosenbaum, Kristen Kruk, Laura Vandervoort from Smallville, Tim Daly, who voiced the animated Superman, Gerard Christopher, played Superboy on the 80s show, and sadly Dean Cain canceled a couple weeks before, so who knows what we would have got from Dean Cain, but he was busy, I guess. So my plan was to get there right at 10 and hopefully get everything done by noon, because there's a panel at noon, the Christopher Reeves era villains. It had Sarah Douglas and Jack O'Halloran, played Ursa and Non in Superman 2, the Kryptonian villains, and Mark Pillow, the nuclear man.
The fingernails.
The nuclear fingernails. So I thought they probably have some good stories. I wouldn't mind going to that panel. But if I don't have everything done, that's not a make or break panel for me. So that was my plan, was to get everything done within the first 2 hours. But it didn't happen. I didn't make it to that panel. So
thank God that woman that was in Superman 3, that she gets turned into the computer robot. Oh man, that thing scared the shit out of me when I was a kid. I'd probably still be scared of her.
All right, so I made my way over to the Artists Alley, and there was a booth there for Batman the Animated Series. They had 2 tables worth, and they had 3 folks, Stan Berkowitz, Alan Burnett, and Dan Reba, who are all writers, directors, producers, or artists on Batman the Animated Series and all the Bruce Timm follow-ups, the Superman show, Justice League Unlimited, all these guys all worked on all these shows of that era. And that booth had some of the coolest merch. Like, it had posters and prints, these noir style, like Batman animated. Like, I could have bought everything in this booth. It was all super cool. But they must be making the rounds together, because their poster had all 3 of them on it. Like, it was a very professional setup booth, and they had some super cool stuff. But so I had all 3 of those guys sign my animated poster.
That's cool.
And they were like, "Oh, you got a lot." And they were like, "Oh, check this out." They were like pointing it out to the other one, and like, "Oh, you met this guy." And so I had to tell the story how I missed Kevin Conroy, his last he was scheduled for the last 2 shows I had tickets for, and just missed them. So basically, we talked about Kevin for a second. So yeah, that was pretty cool.
Basically, it was like a Final Destination thing. The first time, it was like you just kept coming after him like death. Not to bring it up.
So right after that, I saw Rags Morales there.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the only. I know you guys like the awkward story. So this was my most awkward encounter of the day. My first comic artist here, and I'm like, oh no. So I had 4 items. Seth had given me a copy of Infinity Crisis. Identity Crisis. There you go. So I had a copy. I had Seth's copy, and I wanted him on 2 posters. So I said, oh, $5 a signature. That's easy enough. I said, hey, can I get 4 signatures? And hand him a $20 bill. And he puts his hand up. He's like, whoa. Just wait on me.
I'm an artiste.
Like, yeah, I'm like, wait, is this not a financial transaction? What's going on here? You are charging for something, and now you're acting like, let's not bring money into this.
Leave it on the nightstand.
Yeah, let's not sully this with cash. So I'm like, oh, so I'm already juggling a whole handful of stuff. And his table, he's got short boxes on either side. He's got easels with his artwork, and he has a big drawing table in his lap. So, like, there's no empty table space to put anything. So I'm like,
lay
okay,
a poster out there. Yeah.
Exactly. That's where my trouble was. And he's got one of those real nice paint pens that takes forever to dry.
Mm-hmm.
Does a super elaborate signature. Great signature. So I hand him Seth's book. I was like, and I always feel weird getting 2 copies of something signed because that feels like I'm going to flip it on eBay or something. So I hand him the first one. And I feel like I got to explain it. I'm like, oh, I said, this is for a buddy of mine who wasn't able to make it, but, you know, he's a real Marvel guy, but this is still one of his favorite books, just, you know, probably his top DC. And I talked for like 40 seconds. And he looks
all
like,
true.
What?
Who? Fuck
he
that
didn't
guy.
hear. I don't know if he didn't hear me, didn't understand. I don't know. He was just like, what are you talking about? I was like, I'm trying to compliment you. I'm sorry. Okay. So we're already off to a rocky start. I was like, it's for a friend, and he likes it. Just sign it. So he signs it with the paint pen, so I have to set it aside to dry. I was like, oh, and this copy's mine. I was like, yeah, I said, I just reread the whole series. I said, oh, it definitely stands up. So yeah, I'm trying to compliment him. Okay. Hands it back. So he did a run on Superman with Grant Morrison. So I want him on the Superman poster. And I have almost nobody on my awesome Green Arrow poster that I went out of my way to find.
Mm-hmm.
But he did a mini series of Green Arrow, and I feel like Identity Crisis is enough of a Green Arrow book, so like I can put him on the Green Arrow poster. So I was like, I've got these posters if you could. So I have to like kind of hand them to him. So I've got a whole stack of these things. They're very awkward to hold. So he signs the Superman one in white. He signs everything in white. It's a very cloudy background. It's like, that's not showing up great, but I'm not going to argue. So then he signs the Green Arrow, which the background is completely white. So he had to sign it on the green part of the uniform, which it looked all right. And he's like, no, that's going to take a minute to dry. I was like, yeah, I got it. And then he like starts to hand it back to me. And I go to grab it, and he goes, whoa, careful, it's going to dry. And I was like, you're handing it back to me. What is happening right now? And like, there wasn't a line. I wasn't holding anybody up, but it just got super awkward. So I ended up smearing the Green Arrow one. So I did it like trying to get out of there with my dignity intact. I didn't smear that. So I grabbed everything up and just went out into the hallway. I'm like, I got to get out of here, man.
I got to regroup.
Yeah. I tried to like fan the posters out a little bit and let everything dry. I was like, okay, the day's not starting out great. But everything was all right after that. Got everything put away and straight to John Bogdanov, who I was probably most excited to meet. Kind of 80s, 90s era Superman artist, co-creator of Steel, drew the Man of Steel book during the death of Superman, reign of the Superman era. So I'd had an idea. Stupidly, I didn't think of it till now. But like I've got a couple of these sketch covers or headshots or whatever, and I thought, a jam piece would be kind of cool. If I have multiple artists do something, what could I do? And I thought, well, here's the guy who co-created Steel, and there's 4 of these, the Reign of the Supermen, Superboy, the Eradicator, Cyborg. So I'm like, that would be kind of cool if I could get. Well, who did I meet last year? Grummett, who was the artist on the other book. 2 years ago, we met Dan Jurgens, who was the artist on the main Superman. So I've met 3 of the 4 Reign of the Superman artists, and I didn't think of it till now. So I'm like, well, I'm an idiot, but better late than never. So I saw that he did Remarks, and I thought it was a good value, I thought. So I'm like, yeah, let's do that. So he didn't charge anything for signatures, so I got my Superman poster signed and a Superman comic. And it's like, you doing Remarks? And there was nobody in line at the moment. He's like, yeah, sure. So I told him my idea. He's like, oh, yeah, that's great. So he started drawing super, like he had the lead of his pencil out like an inch. He was doing super detailed drawings, like real carefully. I was like, to me, a Remark is like a 5-minute little doodly-doodly-doo. But he like sat there and put so much detail into it. Which like, that's awesome for me. So we were kind of chatting. And I told him I'd read Reign of the Superman recently. And like, again, like, and we were talking, I was like, yeah, it has that reputation of being from the 90s, kind of bombastic and crazy. I was like, but it's a good story. Like, it's a good story about, what happens when there's no Superman and like all his supporting characters. So he's like, yeah, I thought so. Yeah, it was just a nice chat. And as he's drawing, we are interrupted by Michaela Hoover, the actress who played Cat Grant in the new Superman movie. And she was the voice of Floor the Rabbit in Guardians 3. So she had that real high-pitched, squeaky voice, which is her actual voice. So she just kind of bops in, doesn't look at me, doesn't acknowledge me at all, just barges directly between like super Hollywood, super like, yeah, I'm a star. But she said, oh, my friend so-and-so told me I had to meet you. And said, you were, had to get something from you, a piece of art or something from you, because you're like the Superman guy. He's like, oh, well, thank you. He's like, what do you need? Well, what do you charge? What kind of, oh, you have prints here already? So she just started shopping as, interrupted my whole, I was having a moment with the guy, but that's all right. She's from Hollywood. But it was cool. Like, she was interested in or at least her friend was interested in the Superman comics, being an actress in the movie. So he starts fanboying and telling her how good she was in the movie, how much he loved the movie, how much he loved the Daily Planet stuff in the movie. And he was like, James Gunn needs to make a Jimmy Olsen show, which I've heard going around online. People have been petitioning this. He's like, he needs to do a comedy with the whole cast of the Daily Planet and do all those wild Silver Age stories where Jimmy cross-dresses and gets turned into a giant turtle and just have the crazy side of the DC universe as like a workplace comedy. And he was like pitching all these ideas. And she kind of leans in. She's like, well, don't tell anybody, but you're going to be hearing something about that very soon. Which they just announced this week, if you've seen.
Yeah, I saw that.
DC Crime, they are doing a Jimmy Olsen-centric show, and she's going to be a guest star. So I had that scoop. We haven't recorded in a while, but I had that scoop before anybody else. I could have broken it on here.
Oh.
There you go. She told me not to tell, and I couldn't be one to.
She's a Hollywood star, so. I missed the beginning of that. Who was the artist?
John Bogdanove.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So she left, and he finally got back to drawing. Get back to it. But yeah, we chatted about the same thing. I was like, yeah, I feel like that Daily Planet, that staff like helped make the movie. And he was it's like James Gunn remembers that comic books, can be fun or silly at some point. So yeah, we just talked Superman for a while, and it was cool. So and I asked him if he ever got any Hollywood treatment. I was like, do you ever get to go to these premieres or get invited to any stuff? And he said he got to go to the finale. They had a big like screening when Lois and Clark ended, which Steel was a big part of that in those final seasons. So he got to go to like the screening where the CW wrapped things up. So really good time. And he like apologized. He's like, I'm sorry this has taken so long. I was like, you're drawing something really cool. Like, so he gets out his ink pen and he inks it all as well. And he goes, I probably went a little overboard, but I just love Steel so much. Like that is no problem at all. So he got his wife. He's like, get a picture of this. So he made his wife get a picture. She's like, I think that's a good one. And I said, I feel dumb just now having the idea, but I said, I've already met Dan Jurgens and some of the other guys. He's like, oh, you'll see him again. And he goes, when you get it finished, can you send me a copy? I was like, it could be a while. He's like, that's all right. So he wrote down his email address on the back of the comic. So if I ever do get all 4 of them done, wants to send it off. But yeah, he joked that he put so much detail in it. He's like, Dan's gonna be so mad at this because he can't just like drop a little piece of crap drawing. He's like, because he's not gonna, he's gonna have to match what I did here. Like, yeah, that's right. You set the bar pretty high on this. So that was super cool. Again, like for a very Superman centric show, I was hoping they'd have some Superman artists there. So yeah, getting to meet Rags Morales, John Bogdanove, that was super cool. So the table right next to him was Howard Chaykin. So I had this whole I was at John's table. I was at John's table for half an hour, eavesdropping on Howard Chaykin, seeing what kind of mood he was in, seeing how he was in. Was he scolding anyone? Was he lecturing anyone? No. So he was joking with people and having a good time. It's like he seems like he's in a good mood. So I had brought a Star Wars book. Again, we've talked before. He charges extra for Star Wars. He's not a fan of the Star Wars stuff, which is understandable. I get it. The dude drew like 8 issues of Star Wars 50 years ago, and that's all anybody wants to ask him about. Like, he was a super respected and influential artist for decades that has been putting out his own stuff for years and years and years. And people are like, Luke Skywalker, right? It's like, I get it. I get it. I do not hold a grudge. But so he charges $15 to sign anything Star Wars. But they had just done the facsimile of Star Wars #1, the reprint of the original Marvel issue. And I had some of the foil variants left, which is it looks really nice. And I thought Roy Thomas, who wrote the script, I thought if I ever meet Roy Thomas, that's probably what I would want signed. So I better get Howard Chaykin's signature eventually. So I went up to him and I said, hey, I know it's not your favorite. He's like, I made peace with it. Like, he was just kind of shrugged it off. And I said, hey, a begrudging signature looks the same. And he kind of laughed. And I handed him $15, like, exact change. Thank you. Like, it made him so happy that I had exact change because apparently nobody else does. So I got back on his good side by having exact change. So that was
He'll remember.
Yeah. So I have a Star Wars #1 facsimile.
That guy's always got an issue with something, I'm telling you.
He's a character. I think he kind of leans into it a little bit.
I like him.
Yeah.
Then I met Oliver Ono, which I had never heard of him before. He's a very young artist, but he's the artist on the 3 Godzilla books at the moment. He is the artist on Starship Godzilla, which just came out. So I ordered an extra copy of #1 just to grab it and get signed. I love this guy. He was standing up. He was doing a drawing for someone. He was talking to everybody. He was super enthusiastic. And like halfway through the drawing, he's like, "Oh, do you just want a signature?" It's like, "Yeah." He's like, "Oh, give me a second." So he like let me just kind of cut in line, get the signature. I complimented. I was like, your art's super cool. It's like, "Yeah, man, the script's letting me do whatever I want." Like, so we just had a really good interaction. Didn't charge anything. Which just seemed like he was happy to be there, happy to be interacting with the fans. So like, this guy made a fan today. I like this guy. That's what these shows should feel like. So then, I don't know what to say the other side of the coin, but then I went to Ryan Otley, artist of Invincible, was there. And again, super nice guy, had a huge setup. I think 3 tables worth of stuff, tons and tons of merch, all the Invincible trades, all these variant covers that he's done. I had met him. I just saw there was some memory of us at Mid Ohio Con like 2011. The group of artists local that were from Oval, and there was a group photo of us, and right behind us was a sign for Ryan Otley. Like, he was right across from our table in Artist Alley way back in 2011. So he's gotten a little bit bigger since then. So I had gotten an Invincible book signed back then. So I'm like, I don't need anything Invincible. I was like, he did a long run on Spider-Man that I really like. So I got the Spider-Man poster, and I've got a Spider-Man book to get signed. His signatures are now $20 a piece. Or you can get a bloody signature for $60, where he takes red pen and like splotches like blood splatter all over it. If you really want to make your mark there. So that the lady tried to upsell me on the bloody signature. She was like, I'm good. So she's like, "No, what are you getting signed today?" So I got a comic and this poster. Can you show me the poster? So I kind of unroll it halfway, and she goes, "Could you unroll it the whole way, please?" So she made me show her the entire poster. Ryan, would you want to sign this? And he was like, he looked up for what he was doing. He was like, "Yeah, okay, sure." Like, he didn't care, but she had to like vet that it wasn't a piece of his art, but I'm like, what would I say if he said no? It's like, oh, yeah, John Romita. You think you're better than John Romita? He signed it. Mark Bagley, Mark Wade, they signed it. Jim Shooter, you think you're better than like I don't want to have to yell at you, Ryan Otley. But no, she was a little high strung, but he was super cool. I said I congratulated him. It's like, congrats on the animated show. It's like, it's brought a whole lot of people back to the comics. People are discovering the comics. Like, yeah, man, that's what it's all about. People are back reading the comics. Awesome. So he had a panel at 1. So I went to that one. It was just kind of a Q&A panel. It was fine. Again, the questions people weren't like lining up. Like, they had to kind of pull teeth to get some questions. And they weren't, who's your favorite villain to draw or whatever. It was nothing real in depth. But he was drawing the whole time, because he was going to do a giveaway at the end, an original sketch to somebody who went to the panel. So like, he had his head down. It was like, what? Yeah. So he was really distracted the whole panel, it seemed like. But again, it was a nice guy. But when they started the panel, they're giving out tickets to do a drawing at the end of the show. So they come to my row, and the guy next to me passes me a ticket. So I turn and pass it to the lady to the left of me. And I turn, and the guy's gone. So that was supposed to be my ticket. As I felt like Milton in Office Space with the birthday cake. Like, I passed my piece of cake, and I turned around, I was like, I was promised a piece of cake.
Yeah.
So I sat there. I had no ticket. I'm like, I was praying this woman won. I was like, this would be such a better story if this woman won with my ticket. But she didn't. Neither of us won. I gave away my chance for a free event. That panel only lasted about half an hour or so, but it was fine. By the time that was over, Frank Cho was there, because his sign at his table said, back at 1 p.m. or whenever I wake up. So he wasn't there the whole morning. And then later, as I walked by, he had a sign that had gone to lunch. So he didn't get there till after 1, and then took a lunch. It's like, you're one of the biggest names here, dude.
We had remember last year there, we had an issue with Bart Sears. Was it Bart Sears?
Oh,
he was sick,
missing.
and yeah.
So I got Frank Cho to sign my Avengers poster. He did several issues with Bendis back in the day. So he signed it, and he did a little Wolverine remark, just real quick. Looked super cool. So that was about all the celebs I needed to see. Hit some dollar bins. One of the bins I went through last year had some good scores in it, so I went through it again. I was digging through, going light speed, going through. And I'm like halfway there, and this guy comes up, and he's like, "You look like you know what you're doing." I was like, "Yeah, I know what I'm looking for." He's like, "You might save me some time. Have you seen any Marvel G.I. Joes in there?" Oh, no, I haven't. So he knew I had looked through every book in the bin. He's like, "Okay, cool." So I started digging, and 2 boxes later, there's a couple of the yearbooks. I'm like, "These?" He's like, "I'll take them." So I helped the guy find some G.I. Joes. That was fine. I found the retro Flint G.I. Joe Classified.
Yeah.
For less than suggested retail price. I had ordered it through Diamond. It's never shown up, and I'm starting to think it's not going to.
Yeah.
So like, I might as well grab this now while it's in front of me. So I found me a G.I. Joe. A decent number of comics. A lot of wall books, a lot of expensive books, a lot of graded books, a lot of variant books, key books. One place had an end cap. If you've heard of these blind bags that are the hot new thing, where you get random variants inside a bag, you don't know what you're buying. This Mark Spears Monsters book just came out with a blind bag that sold like 400,000 copies. It made some ridiculous amount of sales. Well, there was a guy there that had an end cap, like an L-shaped shelf on the end, nothing but those variants, like hundreds of copies of it, stacked. I was like, okay, that's where these are all going to end up. All these ones that aren't the rare variants, all these common ones are going to end up on these end caps. And then I walked around the corner, and he had the Invincible, the Battle Beast book, which started this whole blind bag nonsense, sold a ton of comics. Had a whole thing of the blind bags that had been opened. It's like, okay, yep, these are gonna be, these are gonna be in landfills pretty soon, but pretty interesting. But a lot of merch, a lot of Lego, a lot of like crafty stuff, a lot of plushies, a lot of T-shirts, like the accoutrement that goes with all this comic stuff. So I did kind of one more loop around. Like, I just want to make sure I hit every aisle. And it was, by this point, it was like 2:30 on a Sunday. I'm like, this should be winding down. But like the aisles were still packed full. There were some aisles I couldn't even get through. So I'm like, all right, this is still going strong. People are still making sales. So good for them. But I was going to get out of there, get home before dark, hopefully. So I got out before 3. I'm going to get a jump on things. Let's get rolling. You just fall right out of the place, right on the interstate. But I get stuck behind a train. There was a train going by. So there was this I had to sit at a light. It changed 50 times before I could get through it because there's all this convention traffic trying to get out. The train stopping everybody. I was like, ugh. So it took me a half hour to get on the interstate. And on the way down, I'm like, I'm not making this mistake again. There's no place to eat between Cincinnati and Columbus. I'm going to figure it out before I get down there.
We have learned this lesson.
I'm driving through. I see the exit for Xenia. I'm like, Xenia, that's a town I've heard of. That's a major stop. I see it has some restaurants. I'm like, maybe I'll just stop in Xenia on the way back. So I get on the interstate. That exact same place, 3 years in a row now, traffic jam. I get stopped just crawling like a half hour north of Cincinnati for just open fields. There's nothing going on.
I won't go that way anymore.
I saw a cop in the median. There wasn't any kind of wreck. There wasn't any reason for it, but it was the same exact spot. I get stuck. I get to Xenia. I need some gas. I'm like, okay, I get off the exit. I'm like, I swear going south, there was a bunch of restaurants. I don't know if there was multiple. I got off the wrong Xenia exit, apparently, because it had like a gas station Subway, and that was about it. I'm like, there is nothing to eat here. So like, all right, so fine, I'll get back on the interstate and find something. Nope, there's no food for like an hour. I was like, the first place I see, it was exactly like what Seth and I ended up at the same Popeyes that we ended up at after our trip.
Did they have chicken?
They had chicken. So, history has repeated itself 3 straight years trying to get out of Cincinnati.
I won't go interstate anymore, anywhere around Cincinnati. I'm hitting 32 or something. And coming
nothing
across.
There. There's nothing that should impede anybody. I don't get it.
That 71 or whatever it is between Cincinnati and Columbus is just, it's terrible.
But it wasn't quite as long a delay as last time, so made it home in pretty good time. Had a good time, and I shared the sketch I got. That there's a Facebook page of people sharing remarks and sketches and autographs and like what they paid for them to help you kind of plan for cons, which I found kind of helpful. They have a good database of stuff, and I think I got like 70 likes on it or something. People were pretty enthused by it, so it's like, yeah, this is pretty cool to share. I don't know that he's a real prolific con goer, so I was able to share people what his style is like. So had a good time. So not a ton of people, but it was a good mid-sized show, worth the trip.
Be back downtown next year.
Yep.
So
I'm wondering if they'll expand it. Some crazy big guests try to blow it out next year.
Hopefully. Yeah, I now last weekend, Alicia and I had she had a thing up in Columbus. And I ended up with a weird amount of PTO at work left. I had like 30 hours, not 32, but I had 30 somehow. And so I was like, she's like, well, we got a free hotel room in Columbus for her thing. And she's like, are you gonna just stay home or do you want to go and hang out or whatever? I was like, well, I'll go, might as well. So we went up to Columbus, and as I was getting ready to leave, I worked a couple hours last Friday, and then left from there. And I was like, well, I wonder, like, are there any vintage toy stores I haven't been to around Columbus? You know, I've been to Big Fun, right, a bunch of times.
Toy Trail.
Vintage.
So, couple popped up. One was fairly close. It was on the way to the hotel. So I was like, well, I'll stop there and well, you know, check it out, whatever. So I made it to Pataskala and hit up a toy store called Out of This World Toys. Which, like I said, I'd never been there. You gotta hit the old Ohio Toy Trail when you can. So I stopped in there that afternoon. I was in there for a good bit. A lot of people in there. Wasn't a huge store. Had some neat stuff in it though. And I went through the store. Kind of shopped a little bit. Didn't really find anything was on my list that I have or anything like that. And I was kind of getting ready to leave, and the guy that owned it was up at the counter working through pricing some stuff he just got in, and he's like, "Hey man," he's like, "Well, what you find anything?" I was like, "Nah, not really, nothing I was looking." He's like, "Well, what are you collecting?" So we started talking and struck up a conversation, and I was like, "Well, I'm kind of finishing up the superpowers thing I've been doing for a few years. Still got a like 3 or 4 I kind of want that I haven't been able to get yet." He's like, "Oh yeah, those some of those hard to find ones get pretty pricey." I was like, "Yeah," and I went through the whole store, and he had a bunch of DC stuff, but there wasn't a one superpower figure that I saw in there. And he's like, "Well, here's my DC stuff. I just kind of throw stuff in here, some beaters and stuff." And he pulls out, and he's got this big box of superpowers figures behind the counter. And I was like, "Oh." He's like, "Yeah." He's like, so anyways, we were talking and had a pretty good conversation with him. Ended up, the guy that owns that store, he runs the CTS show that we have went to in the past. Went to a few months ago. So that was pretty cool. New face and just kind of talking about, vintage toys and stuff. And he had some just off card vintage Dungeons and Dragons figures that I was kind of looking at. I mean, they were super nice. But again, not a collection I'm necessarily into. There are a couple figures I'd like to have, but I'm always a little leery these days of like starting a new thing, because then I'm in it. So anyways, it was a pretty cool store. He apparently he had worked at Big Fun for a few years before he started his own shop. So we were kind of, he's like, "Yeah," I was like, "Yeah, I'm going to Columbus." He's like, "Yeah, you're going to stop at Big Fun?" I was like, "Yeah, probably tomorrow. Hit up Big Fun." He's like, "Oh yeah, I work there, blah, blah, blah." So anyways, it was kind of neat. New store to check out if you're around that area. And then the following day, again, Alicia was doing some training stuff up there, and I didn't have anything to do. So my cousin Matt that lives up there, I had contacted him to let him know I was going to be in town. I was like, you want to do something or whatever? I was like, I'm probably going to go to Big Fun. So he was like, yeah, he was in for that. We've talked about his Star Trek collection before recently here, and I know he goes to Big Fun every now and again. But I didn't. So we go, and I did not, I guess, have an idea how much he must go there. Because we walk in and you've been there. It's super crowded. There's lots of people there. It's hard to maneuver and look at things sometimes because there's so many people. And we walk in and the owner of the store was somebody said something to him, like, and he comes up and he's like, "Hey, Matt, how you doing?" And they start in all this Star Trek talk, and Matt's like, "Oh yeah, my cousin," and introduced me, and like he's like, "Oh yeah, nice to meet you," and this and that, and like they talked, and I was kind of shopping around, I wasn't, Star Trek's not my thing, so I was looking for a few, just checking some stuff out, and anyways, yeah, come to find out that like he definitely knows. They are on a first name basis.
Norm.
He may get a little bit of a discount, because he's apparently there that much, and they're buddies, and I don't want to ruin anything, but yeah, I bought a couple things, and he was like, I went to check out, and the normal guy, was going to check me out, and the owner came up behind him and said something to him, and I got a discount too. So I was like, yeah, well, when I'm going to go to Big Fun, I'm going to call my cousin and make sure we go together from here on out. So no, it's super cool store down in the short north. If you've never been there before, one of my favorites. Up in Columbus in that area. And then we went and had some Mikey's late night slice for lunch afterwards. And, Matt had heard me talk about Mikey's and stuff before. And I was like, yeah, we'll walk down here, walk down a few blocks and go get a slice and whatnot. And so we did, and we were in there, and we were sitting there and just kind of talking about family stuff, and for quite a while. And I was like, well, we better go, it's getting later on in the day. And we left, and we were walking kind of down the block back to the car. And he goes, he said, I don't think I've ever been to one of those before. He said, I thought I had, but I'm thinking of somewhere else. So he got his first trip to Mikey's out of it. And he was like, yeah, it was pretty good. I was like, yeah, that garlic sauce, man, took some home. I was like, it's hard to beat. So yeah, little toy trail action. Pretty cool.
Looking forward. We've got GalaxyCon coming up, so that means a trip to Columbus.
Definitely.
Get a slice myself. Can't wait.
Yeah.
Anything else? Anything else on the calendar?
That weekend of GalaxyCon, Nick and I are going to see that Ben Schwartz comedy improv tour thing. They're going to be in Columbus.
Oh, at the comedy club or at a
it's at some theater.
Yeah, that's cool.
Might have some special guests, like people that are there for the con might show up who don't go to other cities.
They might. I don't know. Never saw that. It's the last stop on the tour. I know that. So we'll see.
Cool.
All right, that do it?
I think so.
I guess. You guys don't watch movies or TV, so.
There's plenty of TV. We definitely need to catch up on some TV. I don't know if you guys want to tonight.
You've just crossed over into the Twilight Zone.
Live from New York, it's Saturday night!
Marsha! What's up, right, yo? Yo, so come on, yo, Roundhouse coming, man.
I'm Prison Mike. You know why they call me Prison Mike?
Beavis, please sit down.
Are you threatening me? I am Cornholio.
First sign of youngsters going wrong, you got to nip it in the bud. Nip it.
And I'm sitting there with Woody, and I turn to him and I go, boy, these pretzels are making me thirsty.
Picture it, Sicily, 1939.
What you talking about, Willis?
Won't you please? Please won't you be my neighbor? Hi, neighbor.
Good afternoon, everybody.
What do you got? You got a couple hot things?
I was going to tell people to watch Pluribus. I'd like to talk about it, but nobody else has seen it. And then Uh, there's other stuff. What did you watch, Jordan?
HBO's got the big It prequel, Welcome to Derry. We need to get our Stephen King expert, Mr. Justin Lowe, on here to talk about that at some point.
Whoa, hey, wow. So you just get that moniker? feel like I've cut my teeth on some Stephen King.
Being slighted.
I know a thing or two. Correspondent. Let's give him correspondent.
Yeah, we talked Dark Tower one time. I'm sure he's been on other times. It's not it is not my favorite thing, but the show's been pretty good. It's been super creepy. Some real dark, nasty stuff.
Yeah, I watched a bunch of. So I watched a Stephen King movie today in theaters, The Running Man. Saw The Long Walk last month. I had anticipated my whole life for them to make that movie, so yeah. I saw people go see Begonia. It's still in theaters, maybe. Cliff's favorite director, Yorgos Lanthimos.
Okay.
That's the guy that did Kinds of Kindness last year. His favorite movie ever.
Shit, yes, indeed.
But Begonia is great. You would like Begonia. I love it. It's good. Good stuff.
I'd like to see it for sure.
Yeah, I did get HBO back. Since we've recorded anything, and did get through Peacemaker season 2 a while ago, and thought it was good. I didn't have a problem with the ending or anything. I thought it was cool. It was fun watch. James Gunn,
a little montagey at the end,
a little bit, but not super terrible. I mean, it didn't really affect my opinion of the season for me. And started.
It did rock me a little bit. Not to be kind of vaguely spoilery, but when you learn the twist, there's people who notice right away, and there's people who, like me, was completely oblivious. I was like, "Wait, does that mean I'm not at all racist, or I'm very racist?"
Very.
You either notice or you don't notice. It's like which is better, to have noticed immediately or to not notice at all?
Yeah. Yeah. So watch that. Working on. Been watching that new Tim Robinson show.
Chair Company. I haven't seen the latest episode.
I haven't seen the latest, but yeah, just started that the other night, and I was like, this thing it's insane.
Yeah,
the show. So yeah, made me.
Nick had me. He told me to watch. See, I was not. I think you should leave some of it, but I'm not an enormous fan. And I did like Friendship. I saw you did not like Friendship, Cliff.
Yeah, made me go back and watch Friendship, and I didn't hate it, but. Yeah.
I liked it. I literally love the funniest thing I probably saw in theaters all year was the Licking the Frog.
Yeah,
that segment is just amazing. But Nick said he watched Detroiters. It's on Netflix, the 2 seasons of that. So I'm almost finished with it, but I watched the whole first season in one night. It was pretty good. So it's easier to swallow because it's not cringe like the rest of his stuff.
Yeah, it's got like Detroiters, weird moments, but not like
Detroiters is happy-go-lucky. They're friends. There's stuff that's weird, but it's positive kind of stuff. Like his other stuff, like the first episode of Chair Company is so like, I want to scratch my skin off. Like it's just like I'm not comfortable watching this.
Yeah,
everything is just like uncomfortable. But
that is a good word for it.
Yeah. But it's I like it so far.
I really like Lake Bell, and I feel like they haven't given her anything to
No,
do. Like,
she doesn't have anything
she's
to do.
good, but her character is just kind of bland. So I'm hoping she gets some kind of moment to shine.
Yeah. Yeah.
I will recommend. I watched the Lowdown.
I watched
the Ethan Hawke show.
I watched 2 episodes, maybe 3 of that. Everybody's raving about it.
Yeah.
And I stopped watching it. And I'm just like,
it took me a couple. I wasn't super into it the first 2. It took me a while. Like I took like 2 weeks between them or whatever, and didn't go back to it for a while. But I really got into it by the end. It was just 8 episodes.
I'll revisit.
Created by Sterling Harjo, who was a creator of Reservation Dogs.
Yeah.
And it's set in Tulsa, Oklahoma, same place. They actually had some cameos. The actress Paulina Alexis, who played Willie Jack, like passes Ethan Hawke on the street and kind of nods to him. So it's like basically set in the same universe as Reservation Dogs, but you don't need to know anything for sure. But yeah, Ethan Hawke, he's been a movie star forever, but like he's doing some really interesting stuff lately. I've become more of a fan of his, like that as the villain in Moon Knight. He really shined. That show, The Good Lord Bird, which I loved and nobody ever talked about. He was the abolitionist John Brown. Just a complete nutso performance. Like, it was so good, and I thought he was super good in this as like this citizen journalist who just gets into stuff. It's kind of this weird Shaggy Dog detective story where like he's kind of following one trail and he keeps getting sidetracked, and there's land deals and secret wills and white supremacists. So just all this crazy stuff pops up, but it was so well done, I thought. And a super great cast. His daughter is Ryan Kiera Armstrong, who was the main girl in Star Wars Skeleton Crew. She was really good. It's got Keith David, Tim Blake Nelson, Gene Triplehorn, Kyle MacLachlan, Graham Greene, who just passed away, probably his last performance. Peter Dinklage. Killer Mike, the rapper, is amazing. Every one of his scenes is hilarious. And it had Macon Blair as a side character. And then he directed a couple of the episodes as well. So they had him on, as a double duty there. But yeah, I was a little slow to start for some reason. I felt that for sure. But by the end of it, I was really, really into it.
I saw a couple shows got canceled that I was a little annoyed about. Poker Face got canceled after 2 seasons.
I thought that one was so acclaimed and
I mean, it's not. I didn't love it, but I would have watched a few more seasons of it. I thought they changed it up in the second season, made it a little fresh, and I thought it was good. There was some talk of them wanting to reboot it with Peter Dinklage as the main detective like person or whatever instead of her. And also the English teacher got canceled.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
I watched, but I loved both seasons of that.
Yeah, they were really good.
Clever. Yep. A really good show. Just like, but it's just kind of that anti-woke agenda.
Yeah. Yeah, it had a
canceling anything gay.
Right. It had a really good ensemble cast with
good.
that. Yeah.
Very good show.
Yeah.
Like, if you want to watch 2 good seasons of a good half-hour comedy, English Teacher.
Yeah, like
we're definitely in like this golden age of television, but we're also in this age where just stuff comes and goes and gets axed really fast, and you put out an 8-episode season, and then it's 4 years before you get the like TV is kind of frustrating now as well.
Yeah. It's true.
Either of you guys have you started that new I Love LA on HBO?
I watched first 2 episodes. Yeah. So it's fine.
Yeah.
It's not as good as I was hoping so far, but I'll give it some room to breathe here.
I thought it looked really good, and then I watched, I don't know, few episodes, 2 or 3 episodes.
Yeah,
and
I'm sure I'll watch it all, but it's not blowing me away.
So and we're getting right where they're about to drop this final season of Stranger Things, and I just feel like people are just kind of shrugging. Like, you think this should be a huge, especially in the pop culture nerdy world, but like, I don't know. Again, it's taken them how many years to tell this story? Just a couple hours worth of TV. These kids have aged 40 years. I've
But
aged
how many
50
years since they filmed it? Since this season that's coming out? Well, it's been
a couple of years.
Yeah, at least.
Yeah.
I mean, this should be this triumphant cap to this amazing run, and it's like I kind of like, I'll get Netflix at some point. Like, I'm just not super hyped. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't have Netflix currently either, and haven't for a while now, and I'm like,
Yeah, it's not that much. I just got to get it with ads. It's less. It's like $8.
Oh, yeah. I think we were paying like $21 or something.
No, can't try to cancel it, and you can get it with ads for like $7.99. It might be $8.99 now.
Okay,
that's what I've been paying for like last 2 years.
I can tell you, they got a whole aisle at Target. The Stranger Things aisle. It was kind of wild. So found that out in Columbus last weekend, but didn't buy anything.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That was a quick.
My nephew Xander, I brought him up a couple times. His dad's been trying to like introduce him to all these classic shows they've gone through.
There's something recently I saw him put a review, like some movie I watched or was at, and he, like, I follow him on Letterboxd, and he had marked it like extremely low. And I was like, "What is this?" He's on my list. I can't remember what it was.
He'll mark anything if he doesn't.
Better not show his face.
Yeah. But they've gone through, like, he was a big Walking Dead fan. They've watched Buffy all the way through. He just watched Lost all the way through, and they just started The Wire. He's like, that you might really enjoy this. So they were like talking. They got through like the first season, and he was asking, so is this really popular? Did it win awards? And Jared was explaining to him, like, well, at this point, Emmys and stuff were still going to like the network shows. It took a while, like The Sopranos, before the cable shows and the premiere networks and the. And he's like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "What?" He did not understand network cable.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
He did and he's media savvy. Like for a high school, senior in high school, he knows what's going on in the world. But like, he's of that age. He didn't grow up with network TV versus cable TV versus, premiere cable movie television. Yeah. Like, it's all streaming to him.
Right.
It's like, that's so weird. And like, such a short period of time, that's meaningless. That is absolutely something that premieres on NBC, streams on Peacock or Fox and Hulu. Like, it's all the same. Like, that's crazy to me to not immediately know the difference.
It is nuts. You get around, like I work with a lot of people that are in their early 20s, and more and more, as years go by, it's like there's stuff that they just never have seen, like just in daily life. Like the more, like I just got a new vehicle, but like most of the vehicles they've seen since they've been driving, you don't even have a key.
Yeah.
And like, they don't think that's just, keys are weird, to them. It's probably cringe. And, but it's just like that kind of stuff they can't even imagine. And it's like normal everyday stuff.
Where do you buy a newspaper? I gotta find a newspaper.
That was always the thing, though. It used to be they don't know what a payphone is, but now they don't know what everything is. Like there's way more things that are slipping away that were staples, and it's crazy.
Yeah, for sure. They just announced the end to Star Wars Insider magazine. And I was like, what? It's been around for 30 years or so. I was like, and they're like, yeah. I guess people don't read magazines.
You could told me that magazine ended 30 years ago. And I wouldn't be sure.
I'll have to check the eBay listing, see if I need to sell some.
All right, I'm starving.
Right.
Yep.
That's Ka-Pow. We got our finger on the pulse of modern pop culture and
talking
old junk.
Leading off with newspapers.
Yep. Meeting Karen Allen.
Billy G.
Kids love. Dean Cain, all the top marks. All right, there we go. That's Ka-Pow. We haven't talked these normal episodes in a while. We kind of lost our touch, so we'll be back soon. We'll have more to talk about. We got movies, TV, comic books, all the regular lovely stuff. We'll see you then. My name is Jordan Lowe.
I'm Cliff Barnes, and I had a car that had 2 keys. One to start it.
For the trunk?
One for the trunk.
That's right. That's how it used to be. You had that one separate one for the trunk.
Yeah.
That was a thing. Not so long ago, kiddies. Now I have a car. Now this, I don't even understand this. I just got this Jeep Cherokee, and it was like, I don't know whether it's like right before they switched to the push button stuff, but it's just a fob that you stick in a slot on the dash, almost like a USB stick, and you turn it, but it's not like you're cranking the engine. You're just turning it, and it's the equivalent of pushing a button. So it's like it was letting people fake themselves out into thinking they were still cranking it. But I discovered there's a hidden key inside the fob, and I don't know what it's for. I'm Seth. Goodbye forever.
Ka-Pow, the Pop Cultured Podcast, is intended for entertainment and informational purposes only. Sounds, music, and clips played during the podcast are property of copyright holders. All original content is property of Ka-Pow, the Pop Cultured Podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe and leave a comment. KPP can be found on Apple Podcasts, Podbean, YouTube Podcasts, Spotify, and wherever podcasts can be found. You can connect with us through social media on Facebook, YouTube, or email Ka-Pow, the Pop Cultured Podcast at gmail.com. Join our Patreon page to help support the show at patreon.com/udownwithkpp for special content and early access to episodes. We are grateful to anyone who chooses to contribute. Most of our content will remain free, so please click the thumbs up, like, share, and ask your friends. You down with KPP?